Hey everybody, we're here today with Sierra. She's the founder of Sierra Learnership. I'm always blah, 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 collaborative, where she is the leadership development coach and speaker. She was born in Winchester, Virginia, and grew up about 30 minutes west in a town of less than 300, Yellow Spring, West Virginia, for those of you that know that. Sierra identifies her greatest core value as growth, which led to the creation of her business and her use of the term learnership to describe the need for both lifelong learning and the development of effective leadership skills to achieve one's potential, like mine, like doing my DISC assessment with her. It's unbelievable. I can't even believe it. She is looking forward to sharing strategies that can change the way you communicate with colleagues, clients, referral partners, family, and everyone you meet. Effective communication is key, and she's going to give you a glimpse into what can be achieved through effective communication today with Personality C. And if any of you have not seen the overview, let me know. Mike, I sent it to you, but I will send you the right one. It is available free on the free level of the membership site, the membership real estate training site. You get to it by going to cindybishopworldwide.com to upcoming events. At the top, there's a banner that pops up. So all you have to do is click on that to sign up. And the overviews are in the free or on the free level for you. There's actually two of them. One has live examples and one doesn't. So anyway, take it away, Sierra. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. I know I recognize some names that are here and are regulars. It's nice to meet you if we haven't met before. So what I've been doing is a series here for Cindy where we have been doing an overview of each of these styles and what it means for you if you are communicating with someone with this style, or what it means for you if you are this style. We also talk about how to close business with a specific style. So far, we've done an overview of all four, so one large overview, and then we have done a breakdown of D, I, and S, and now we're at the C. So we're on the last one where we are kind of digging deeper into it. As Cindy said, if you are interested after today, I will give you some options for packages, and we will get you an assessment and get you some coaching around your results. So C stands for compliant. So we are looking today specifically at the compliant C. So as she said, this is my background. If you're new to me, I was in education for 10 years before moving into leadership education. And really my purpose is to share my passion for growth with everybody I meet. I like to inspire other people to become more effective leaders and lifelong learners. I've always been obsessed with growth since I was a child. That's why I became a teacher and why I switched into the career that I did. So hopefully you guys grow through this presentation today. So today we're looking at the C look fors. How do you identify when you're speaking with a C? We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts for communicating with a C-wired individual and figure out how do we close business with someone who is C-wired. So let's look at some general characteristics to start. So lots of words here. I'm not going to read through them all. I always like to do a highlight. So what I like to focus in on the C is the fact that they are precisionists. They are very, very precise in everything that they do. So usually are very organized people who love facts and data. Okay, these are our people who ask lots of questions and seek to understand and know more before making a decision. So if we're talking about someone that you're selling to, these are the people who show up early, show up with a list of questions ready to go, and just want to know and understand everything about the process. Very analytical individuals. Notice the word analyzer here paired with the letter C. So I don't know if anyone here today is super analytical, but this is actually my primary characteristic is the C aspect. So you'll notice on the right side here, we have a continuum. So if I say you're a high C, that means you're precise. If I say you are a low C, that means that you're more pioneering. You're looking for new and improved ways of doing things. It doesn't have to be a proven strategy yet. Whereas a C wants to know that it works in order to do it. So how do we spot a C? So we're looking for ways to spot a C, whether we meet them for the first time or we know them well. One thing we can look at is their voice. A lot of Cs typically have little or no modulation in their voice. So their voice is more calm. It is more monotone. They're very precise and sometimes very slow to speak, as you can tell that they're being very careful about their wording. Their volume is more quiet than the D, I, or S, and very, very few hand gestures. So not as expressive as the other styles. They do like to maintain direct eye contact with those that they're speaking with, and just very controlled in everything that they do. So when this says emotion, fear, okay, thinking about an emotion that you could spot in an individual, it comes across for a C that a C is fearful of making a decision. They take a long time to make decisions because they're so careful about weighing the options. So, you know, putting it into perspective for your industry, thinking about making a major purchase in your life, a C is going to be very, very careful to make sure that their decision is not going to negatively impact their future, right? So it can come across as a fear of the unknown, fear of making a mistake, because they are so detail oriented and just seek to know more. Notice also criticism of work. So C's are so very careful about the work that they do and so precise that they're very sensitive to criticism, because this is their best work. They would only they would only submit their best work. So if you are criticizing it, you're really criticizing them in their opinion. When looking for what they need, what kind of environment they thrive in an environment that has procedures and routines in place, things that make the environment very predictable for them. And they're looking for proof and evidence. So if you're telling me that I should purchase this, what proof do you have? Prove it. Not based on a testimonial about someone that's worked with you in the past. I want to know exactly facts and data of why this is the best decision for me. So ideal environment. So thinking about whether it's the space that one lives in or the space that one works in, the C is looking for a place where there's minimal noise. They want to be able to focus. They're very focused individuals, very task-driven, task-oriented people. So they don't want a lot of distractions. They want to be able to focus in on what they're doing. When it comes to relationships with others, they usually have very close relationships with a small group of people rather than a ton of different acquaintances. They want an environment where you focus on quality, not quantity. So standards are very important, and they usually set the bar high. They have very high expectations for themselves. Therefore, they also have high expectations of others, which can be a limitation that we'll talk about here in a minute. So these people are really great at following through on a task that's assigned to them. So they will always make sure that it's followed through to completion. Now, it might take them longer than some because their attention to detail, but it will be followed through upon. So possible limitations. As I said earlier, they're living in fear of criticism or fear of making a mistake or failure. So when criticized, a C can become very defensive. So that's when you'll start to see kind of a different side of them that you wouldn't expect, because typically they're more reserved in nature. They can also get bogged down in the details. So for example, I have a friend that took like 8 months to decide what vehicle to buy, right? And just so much research and test driving this one and that one and multiple times. And I'm like, are you ever just going to decide to purchase one? What is it going to take for you to decide to purchase one? Because he became so bogged down in the details. And everything was a spreadsheet and comparing. So it can be tough for a C to move into the decision-making piece and actually move forward, and can get stuck sometimes and needs a gentle nudge to just make a decision and know that if it wasn't the right one, they can always fix it. They can also be overly intense for a situation because they become very passionate about data and evidence, right? So we're going to see in a video here in a couple of minutes of the gentleman Calvin, who represents a C, who is very passionate about the data, about the information, about the books he's read to prove everything he has to say. It's all about proving. And then finally, appearing somewhat aloof, meaning sometimes distancing themselves from the situation, and just so focused on their work that it doesn't sometimes seem as if they care. So they're not going to be participative in just social conversation and be as outgoing as most. So just kind of cool, aloof, off to the side, doing their work, trying to stay focused on what they're supposed to do. So under stress, okay, we have C's coming across as more pessimistic. They're going to question every aspect of everything because, again, they don't want to make a mistake. So because they're focusing on all the things that could go wrong, it comes across as pessimism, right? So it's not as optimistic as the I, who can find something positive in every situation and will just make a decision right away because they'll figure it out as they go. The C is the exact opposite because they're trying to find where the flaws might lie. Can be picky, critical of other people's work, critical of their own work, very hard on themselves. When I see the word fussy, I think of a baby. I think of a fussy baby, but fussy meaning just like will not settle for less than what their expectation is. So again, very high expectations. So let's talk about conflict resolution. What if we're having conflict with a C? How do we handle that? If we're going, head to head with a C, first of all, you're going to attack the problem, not the person. As soon as you attack the person, a C is going to shut down. They're not that outgoing in nature in the first place, and where they're most confident is with facts and data. So you're going to want to focus on the problem and solving the problem together, not dealing with attacking the person itself, him or herself. Focus on parts of the problem that aren't within his or her control. So it's always great when thinking about problems, what is in your control and what is not. Because C's are so analytical, they like to think of things that can be controlled. Sometimes it's good to pull them outside of the box and think about both sides of it. And obviously, you always want to make sure that you're not critiquing them. You value all of the work that they've done, all the effort that they've put in. It's very important that they know that you respect them and the level of expertise that they have. So very carefully working through conflict with the C. If you are looking to close a deal with a C, these are very helpful tips. So prepare your case in advance. I told you that they would arrive early with a list of questions that hopefully you'll be able to provide the answers to. I would always think before meeting with a C, I would think through what questions might this person have and how might I answer those questions so you are fully prepared in advance as well. If they show up with these questions and you are not able to answer them, be honest and say that you don't currently have the answer, but you will be sure to get the accurate answers for them and get back to them as soon as possible. So you're not going to kind of like we discussed, if you were here for a D conversation, you don't just want to make things up just to kind of get through the situation, because you'll lose the D's trust. It's the same way with C. They're focused on having accurate information. So it's better that you say, I don't have that information right now, but I will get it to you, rather than trying to just kind of walk around the questions. Stick to business. C's aren't there to build a relationship with you. All right. It is transactional. It is a business decision for a C. So stick to business. There's no need to make the small talk that you might with an I or might with an S. Just focus on the task at hand. That's what they're there for. Being accurate and realistic is super important. Accuracy, like I said, having the right facts ready to go is great. And being realistic, understanding that there are going to be pros and cons for every decision that they make, and acknowledging the pros and cons, just coming right out and saying, these are the things that we should be looking at, and the different options we have. I mentioned showing up early with all materials. It's better to be over prepared and have things that they don't end up needing, rather than showing up and them asking for things and you're not prepared. It's, back at your office or wherever it may be. Keep these things in your car so that you have them ready to go if a client or prospect is in need of them. Provide everything in writing. So if you don't have certain materials there with you, follow up in writing, because a C will go back and look at this information over and over again as they're trying to make their decisions. So you want to follow up with as much detail as possible for them to refer to. And finally, pros and cons lists are fabulous. I said, come right out and share the pros and cons. Come right out and make a list together. Sit down and have a discussion with them about what they see as the pros and the cons in the situation. So things that are going to create tension for a C that you want to avoid doing, being way too giddy, like a really high I personality who's a great salesperson and super optimistic and excited, is going to be very overwhelming for a C, because remember, this is a big decision for them. They're very, very focused on the details, and it's a business transaction. So they don't need to, be social and casual with you. They're very focused and more professional. Don't be too loud. Don't, take over the conversation. Allow time for them to ask questions. Encourage them to ask questions, but make the focus them, not you. Don't push them too hard. You have to be realistic about the deadlines that you set and the timelines for the transaction, because I shared that a C takes a really long time to make a decision as they weigh the facts, and the harder you push, the more reluctant they are to make a decision. So it's better that you come right out and say, I understand that this is a really big decision for you, and I'm here to support you throughout the process. Let me know how I can help you. When do you think you might be ready to talk about your decision? So put it in their hands, give them control of the timeline. And then finally, being disorganized or messy. Avoid that. If they see you as disorganized or messy, immediately they are going to feel as if the information that you are providing may have been haphazardly put together as well and might not be accurate for them. So I have a video that I've referred to throughout this series. And if this is the first time of you watching this video, it is of a meeting where there's a D, I, S, and a C all represented. The C is Calvin. Calvin is the one sitting there with his laptop, books, papers around him. We are going to actually watch the video today through the eyes of Calvin. So he's going to be commenting on what his thoughts are during the meeting. So when Isaac and Susan and Dee are talking, what he's thinking and how he's processing things, so that you can kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to be a C. If you're not a C, it's kind of hard to understand what it might be like to sit through a meeting or a conversation with a C. So I'm going to share my sound with you, and when I hit play, if you can, Jean, if you can give me a thumbs up that you hear the sound, that would be super helpful.
That's a great notebook, Susan. I saw one like it a week ago at the paper outlet. I almost bought it too, but I got distracted because I ran into an old friend.
I read an article about the cost of notebooks going up 24% next year due to a shortage of paper producing cotton. We had an unseasonably warm winter.
Let's get started. As you know by now, we are in charge of planning our participation in the annual industry trade show.
Deborah is great, but you always need to be on your A game around her. I always like to plan for each of our meetings by pulling any data I can find about the topic of our conversation. If Deborah is going to get angry or frustrated, it won't be with me.
You know, that's a great theme. It makes me think about how we tend to put boundaries on ourselves when setting goals. I think we should start to look past our mental and perceived constraints.
How does Isaac even know if that's a real issue for our clients? He never references data or validated information, just stories.
Calvin, I have you on contact collection and creating a process to follow up with our generated leads.
Okay. Well, last year we had a 20% open rate on our follow-up email. But I wanted to outline a way to increase that by 30%. But then I was reading this year's rules for the trade show, and it mentioned that we will not be allowed to collect the necessary information on attendees that I would need to implement my plan. They can argue with Calvin, but they can't argue with facts. I'm always prepared with the facts. I just wish everyone else was too.
So what are you thinking?
Well, based on last year's data, we need to focus in on our ideal customer and cast a smaller net. That way we can execute a better follow-up. And if we do so, it should result in a 10 to 15% increase in open rates and at least a 25% increase in ultimate sales.
Good. Good, Calvin.
Good? Try amazing.
I thought the theme worked really well last year. Are you sure we need to change everything completely?
Susan is one of the few close friends I have here at the company, but she could stand to be a little bit more prepared. I tried to tell her what the meeting was about and where she could go to find the information, but I think she felt she had more time.
With the theme this year, the change is warranted. We can do better.
Susan will not like that.
I'm sorry you didn't like my ideas last year.
You know, I like to think about our trade show theme and how we can tie that to our company's focus. I think it would really resonate with people if we told a personalized story.
Prove it. But remember, according to the book Sales Tactics for Salespeople, we only have 30 seconds to make a positive impact on an attendee. And that's what we call proof.
I like the story idea. We don't want to rush people through.
And right, this is our time to really connect to potential customers. How often did we get an opportunity to share in this way?
Deborah is not going to like this. Nothing of merit is being offered.
All right. I've got to run to my next meeting. Does everyone understand what is required for our next meeting?
Yes.
Sure do.
Good. I will send out a bulleted list to confirm.
Hey, does anyone want to grab lunch later after this?
I don't think there's any such a thing as being overly prepared. When you're able to back up your solutions with data and facts, you're less likely to have negative repercussions. Now, rules and policies are in place for a reason, and it is important for me to know what is expected of me and follow it through till the end.
Ooh, sorry, Captain C. Didn't realize you were still here.
On the schedule, all day.
Ramen?
All right, so I always like to take a moment to reflect on that. I'm going to pull off of sharing my screen so I can actually see at least you, Jane, since you have your camera on. So what are some thoughts about Calvin? What did you notice about his behavior and how it aligned with the things I was sharing about the C? You can't hear me, Jane? It looks like you are muted.
Yeah, she's muted. Cindy's unmuted.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's
I think Calvin is really uptight. I would have a hard time dealing. In fact, I've just dealt with a couple who would fit into the C category. And I really like them, but their attention to detail or possible detail, really was overwhelming. But
Yeah.
I stuck with them, and the contract went through, so it's already sold. But that's my experience, definitely, with the C-type personality.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you just went through this experience, so it's fresh in your mind. So
Oh, yes.
were any of the strategies that I shared helpful that either did help you to work better with the C, or you wish you would have known prior to working with the C?
Well, I wish I would have known prior to working with the C, but I did let them talk a lot, and brought a lot of data to them, and constant communication through email or phone.
Good,
So,
good. So you
it-
came
you
up
know,
with some
that worked.
strategies on your own. It seemed to work for you. That's good. I'm happy to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, I don't know
but
what-
this is an excellent series.
Well, I don't
Good.
know what personality type you are, Jane, because I'm not Sierra to figure that out. But I can tell you something about Jane. She's a good listener.
Oh.
And she also doesn't get emotional about it. Kind, but not emotional. So that's a very appealing personality to somebody that is like that too. And I think that's why they stuck with you, because if you were getting defensive, or if you were feeling angry and challenged, and you really felt like killing them, you would have never made it through, but I know you well enough to know about your calmness, and you're a woman of few words. People like that because they want to get to it, and they probably felt like they were better heard because of your style.
Yeah, I bet that there's some strong S in you, Jane. I would be anxious to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool. Any other feedback on your response to Calvin in the video? Did he drive anyone else nuts, or did anybody love him and that's their kind of person to be around?
I'm a CD, but he drives me nuts. And the reason is because he's so hyper focused on this one thing,
Yes.
and it's like, come on, buddy. Can't you have a little bit of, surprise?
You know why, Cindy, is
Why?
because the D in you allows you to look at the bigger picture, and you see the full picture, and you can't zoom in and just focus on that one thing. And the
Yep.
C and D balance out for you, just like I'm CD, right?
Yeah.
So he drives me nuts too.
Oh yeah, because he's what I call tunnel vision.
Yeah.
The person that's so in the tunnel that I don't know how they can breathe. I mean, literally, sometimes I can't have all the facts and figures, and I got to make a flipping decision. It's just the way it is. So it's just, which is kind of interesting. So anyway, but yeah, I thought this was wonderful. And I just want to make sure that the people left on the call know that I got to tell you, this evaluation that I did, I can't even begin to tell you how amazing and impactful it was. I really didn't know who I was. And now that I know, and I'm still working because I actually paid for the one where I have some coaching, it is going to revolutionize what I get done. It's also going to make my relationship with my husband, that I don't get along with that great after 37 years of marriage, better, because I can take the high road and I can rationalize some things that I couldn't rationalize before, not to mention other people I meet. And what I found out? It's okay being me. I know that doesn't sound like that would be something that would come out of this, but now that I know who I am, I'm kind of a charging bull, and I'm kind of a pain in the butt about rules and stuff. But I'm also on the other end going to make sure everything works out, for example, for the agents. I'm not going to let them suffer. I'm going to make sure we go the extra mile and make an appointment or do a Zoom meeting or something, versus just saying, figure it out, have a good life, bye. So I just cannot tell you, if you guys have some extra money to do it, do it. It's not done in one day. I mean, the initial evaluation is quick, but although I had a lot of trouble with those questions.
Oh, also Cindy, so how long is that the same, right?
It took about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do the initial evaluation, which was just kind of a pick one of four
Okay,
kind of answers. Some of them were real easy and obvious. Some of them, because you've really got to be honest with yourself.
yes,
If you want the best results, you want to be honest. Now, then this is what happens. It goes into the system, and then Sierra, at that point, evaluates it and sends back this absolutely amazing report. Okay, I gotta tell you. But then she starts giving you some homework. Like, I've got to go through what is the section?
What, on
5 and
section
6?
7, 8, and 9, the true
Right.
false edit?
I got to go through every sentence and say if I think it's right or wrong, because it isn't just black and white based on that evaluation either. So what I'm doing, and then I'm getting coached a little bit, and I got to tell you something. I wish I had this in real estate sales. It's just as helpful now as it was then, but this would have saved me from getting pissy and basically sending referrals out. In other words, that was good that I did. Okay, that was good that I did, especially outside of my geographic area. But I'm talking about people that just irritated me.
Right.
yeah,
I
is.
moved them away from me. I sent them to somebody else. I got a referral fee, so it was not for nothing. But the bottom line was I knew the people I couldn't work with. I knew the people I could. I didn't know why. Okay.
They got
And-
all sort of different kind of personality. Absolutely, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
But
yeah.
this helped me with strategies. Like, I'm noticing everything I'm doing, I'm thinking about it different.
It brings a lot of awareness to it. So I
Oh
was
my
trying to share my end of year pricing in the chat box. It's not working. Do you want me to share my screen so you can see the
That
package?
would be lovely. Could you do that?
Yeah, so hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I did number 3. I'm not a big team or company. I did that one. That was $600, best money I ever spent. And I didn't know it. I just had some blind faith in Sierra's quality. But now that I'm doing it, I'm going to ask her to figure out ways to have follow-on coaching sessions when I'm done, because I think that this is really helpful and I don't want to forget it. I don't want to lose what I've gained at this moment. It's unbelievable, and I've done so
I
much.
like it.
Oh, I really like it. I mean, I really do, and I don't think I've ever done anything in my life that I like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can
Well,
you,
just so you guys know,
Sierra,
go
can
ahead,
you
sorry.
explain a little bit what's the difference of 1, 2, 3? Yeah. So here
Yeah,
with no
yeah,
team. Yeah.
Of course. So package 1, some people feel like they just want the report, which is a 30-page report, and it's a lot of information, but some people feel confident that they can get the report and just have 30 minutes with me to discuss some key takeaways.
Okay.
I offer it because there are just some people who just want to touch the surface.
Okay.
The second one, we just get a closer look into strengths and obstacles. It's really, you're taking that 30 minutes and now you're making it an hour. And then the third one is what Cindy did, which allows us to have an initial hour debrief. Then we get homework, and then a 30-minute action plan creation call, and then another 30-minute follow-up where we do check-in, and I'm an accountability partner for the action plan we've created. So it's just really being able to walk away with a written action plan, have an accountability partner, and continue to support throughout the process. So then, of course, like Cindy was saying, after that is over, anyone that wants to continue to do coaching services with me, I do a 6-month contract. So I'll do a 6-month minimum, and we'll do 2 coaching sessions per month. So that kind of gives you an idea. And then the last one, the multiplier package, that's what I do with people who have multiple staff members within their group. So I've had some individuals that are in
Like teams?
no, I was trying to say, hold on, the management. the, I totally lost my mind.
Like you're talking about like
No,
corporate
like
management teams?
that like housing management, like I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. When you have
Yeah.
someone else take care of your property management.
A
Duh.
property manager. Okay.
So last week I did one with a property management team, which was an awesome experience. So you do the assessments for all the different staff members, and then we add some team capacity to it because you find out how to more effectively work with your team as well. So that's that last package. That's what I don't know why I could not think of the word property, but
That's okay.
you
It
know.
was fun figuring it out. It's all right. Yeah. So, but I highly recommend this. I think that, and I'll be honest, I had a little trouble even wanting to pay 600 because I really didn't understand what I understand now. I wish I could articulate it in a way that you all would understand, but it really impacted me. And again, I've been doing this business since '88. I've done all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've been spent some big money in this business. Sweat hogs. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I mean, I did all kinds of stuff. I had coaches, but this by itself did more impact for me than anything I've done.
Makes me so happy to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, Jane, guess what? You get to see all of them. You have the premium level of the membership site. It's all there under personality types. Yeah. So
Great.
you'll be able to see it all. And I'm going to put this one in there now. The only things that are open on the free service is the overview. And I recommend you do that one too. Okay. We did those originally free, and I recommend that we do these again. But yeah, you guys take advantage of this. How do they take advantage of this?
Cindy, how much is the premium membership?
Oh, the premium membership. Well, we just had Black Friday special at 60% off. I'm trying to think what the premium is. It's really embarrassing. I can't remember.
It's for 1 year?
It's an annual membership. Well, if you pay it up front, you can pay $59 a month, which purposely is very expensive because we don't want people to do that.
Yeah.
Or you can do it for $27 a month, but you got to pay it up front. So
Okay.
if you go in there, aren't you a member? A
Yeah,
free
I
member?
thought,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's banners and stuff in there
Got
that
it,
you can
got
just click on. But the premium has 90% more material in it than the free. The free is about 10%. But all this stuff is in there, and pretty much anything that we do goes in there. And I'm making less and less now free. So most of it will end up being
so
free.
pretty much all the webinar, those kind of thing will be on the
A
premium
lot of
membership.
those are free, but,
Okay.
but what's not free is things like this. Okay.
Okay.
Because I feel this is a higher level thing that people need to be in that upper level premium level to
Yeah,
get.
this
it.
is a great series, right? Thank
Oh,
you,
it's really
Sierra.
great, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
you'll
gonna
see-
sign up for one of those things. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm asking.
Oh,
what's
and I
different.
would, and let me just recommend, the other stuff wouldn't have been enough for us. It's the
Yeah.
$600 one that she has it on sale. That I'm glad I did that, because this
Okay.
follow-up is what makes it so valuable. I would never have understood all that stuff in that 30-page report, I'm telling you. Never. And
Oh.
now she's dissecting it.
I see.
She's good at she's a really good teacher. She's making me understand.
I better be. I went to school to be a teacher.
Yeah, but not all teachers are good. So anyway, but yeah, so here's her email address. I don't know if you want to write it down. I'll just send it to you too.
I dropped it in the
Okay.
chat box. Grow at
did you?
Sierra Learnership.
I've got it, and I'll just send it to them in a
Great.
minute. So
Thank
anyway,
you so
but
much.
I highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So guys, just for your sense of urgency here, that is the pricing through the end of the year. So only if you book before December 31st. So if you want to take advantage of the prices you saw there, make sure you reach out to me ASAP.
Plus, it's a write-off for this year, so it's not for just that.
Okay,
so.
yeah, that's why I would do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sierra.
All right.
Thank
Have a good
you.
one.
Take care.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Okay,
Bye.
appreciate